Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us. So today we are on number 34 in the book. That's page 55. And number 34 has to do with oneness. So, oneness could be looked at as a union between the higher nature and the lower nature, the left side of the brain and the right side of the brain. It could be even lower emotion with higher emotion, incarnated soul with a higher soul. Usually traditionally, oneness is looked at as union between the incarnated soul and the higher soul. But even when we do work with vagal tone, all the different classes that we've been talking about, vagal tone and tuning into the divine calm, part of the benefit of having greater levels of vagal tone is actually also having greater levels of oneness. There's a greater level of connection to the soul and a greater potential for union between the incarnated soul and the higher soul. So this is associated not just with something spiritual, but psychologically, it can clean up the mind, it can clean up the thought forms, the repetitive thoughts, but it does this by helping to deepen the level or degree of vagal tone in the body. We think of vagal tone as the different systems and how that body is able to go into rest and repair, but there's much deeper reasons for vagal tone, both for psychological well-being and our spiritual development. And so here we're using a blend called the void, and the void is actually the throat, and the void is the space in between the incarnated soul and the higher soul. The crown, the forehead, and the area between the eyebrows are all associated with the higher soul. The heart down is associated with the incarnated soul. So the throat is the void or the abyss that we have to cross to make this connection between the higher soul and the incarnated soul. Okay, so we're going to go through and we're going to do our process. So out of your kit, you're going to pull up the void. So we're inhaling. Your awareness is on the left side of your body, left side of your face and neck, your left shoulder and ribs, your left hip, all the way down to the left outer ankle. Left side of your body, you're taking nice, long, slow, deep. Nice, long, slow, deep breaths. The front side of your body, the face and throat, the chest, abdomen, front of the pelvis, down the fronts of the legs to the tops of your feet. Move your awareness to the right side of your body, the whole right side of your face and neck, your right shoulder, your right rib and hip, down the leg to the right outer ankle. Nice, long, slow, deep breaths. The back side of the body, the whole back side. Back of the head and neck, your whole back, your hips, down the backs of your legs to your heels. Just pause and be still. Just pause and be still. Okay. So that is the standard approach. That's something that you could do on a daily basis. Something you do before meditation, or if you want to integrate it into another process that you're doing, you could do that. You could also add it to a stack of other work programs. And those are things that you could do on a daily basis, even multiple times a day. But now we're going to do the advanced approach. And I'd say maybe only 1 to 2 times a week with the advanced approach, just to give your energy body time to assimilate the energy in the shift. So with that, you're using the same oil. Your awareness is on the left side of your body, the side of your face, left shoulder, left ribs and hip, down the outer leg to the left outer ankle. Now your awareness is on the back side of the body. Your awareness is on the back side of the body, the back of the head and neck, your whole back, your hips, down the backs of your legs to your heels. You're on the back side of the body. Your awareness is on the right side of your body, the whole right side. Nice, long, slow, deep breaths with your awareness on the right side of your body. Your awareness is on the front side of your body, your face and throat, your chest, abdomen, front of your pelvis, down the fronts of your legs to the tops of your feet. The whole front side of the body. Just pause and let go. Just let go. Okay, so now let's begin inhaling on the knees, either your whole knee or the area behind your knee. You're still on your knees. You're taking nice, long, slow, deep breaths. The ankles. Your awareness is on your ankles. Nice, long, slow, deep breaths. Nice, long, slow, deep breaths. And then the soles of your feet. Your awareness is on the soles of your feet. Just pause and let go. Just be still. Okay, let's do the 4 quadrants again. Your awareness is on the left side of your body, left side of your face and neck, your left shoulder, your left ribs and hip, down the leg to the left outer ankle. The front side of your body, your face, throat, chest, abdomen, front of your pelvis, down your legs to the tops of your feet. The right side of your body, right side of your face and neck, your right shoulder, your right ribs and hip, down the leg to the right outer ankle, the whole right side. back side of the body, back of the head and neck, your whole back and hips, down the backs of your legs to your heels. Pause and be still. Just pause and be still. We're going to do the last little piece. Your awareness is on your brain. Nice, long, slow, deep breaths with your awareness on the brain. The spine, your awareness is on the spine. Your brain and spine both at the same time. The brain and the soles of your feet. As you inhale, move your awareness up above the ankles. As you exhale, down into the earth. And then just pause and be still. You're just being still. How'd that treat you? Just let that incubate for a moment. Okay, let's go ahead and share experiences, ask questions. We'll do that for a few minutes, and then we'll jump into our normal Q&A. So let's keep it to the Auric programming just for a few minutes, and then we'll switch over. So go ahead and fire away.
Go ahead, Denise.
Hey, hey.
Well, I really like the scent of the oil a lot. And it seemed to either like release certain things, but it always kind of connect and release different areas.
Mm-hmm.
And doing this program, remember, I think for the couple of years I've told you guys that at times I've had a hard time connecting with my left,
Mm-hmm.
and doing this program this last week and this week, I'm beginning to connect with the left and feel more off to my left.
Oh, that's interesting.
It is interesting, but remember I had that really bad horse accident where it affected everything off to the left. It was years and years ago, but
right.
I never had any kind of physical therapy or anything like that until, this last year. So, yeah, it's so that I love it. But could you explain just a little more about the void? I heard you say it has to do with the throat and oneness.
It has to do with the throat chakra, like not
Okay.
necessarily the physical throat, but the throat chakra. And the throat chakra is actually considered the abyss or the void. The void is the space between the higher soul and the incarnated soul. So, like as we meditate, for example, and we do things where we activate the heart and we activate the crown, there's like a connection that crosses that void that connects the higher soul and the incarnated soul. And so it's just that space of
Potentiality?
what's that?
Is it like potentiality or?
Yeah, I would say that it's almost like, how they talk about being a vessel or emptiness.
Mm.
It's like that emptiness. And yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I hope that helps.
It's much clearer. Thank you. But I think it would be this one for some reason to work with a little bit more this week. So thank you.
Yeah, the ones that have like kind of a little bit more of a spiritual slant, they don't really have like a lot of things where you go, I'm going to use it for this condition or that condition. But they tend to be very quietly, very impactful, you know. And so
It has a nice scent too on top of it.
Yeah.
I couldn't put my finger on what it was.
Yeah, I could look up and see what
but
it
it
is.
kind of pulled me in even more.
Yeah, let's see what that is. It's been a long time since I made that, so I don't even quite remember. Funny, I was just telling Samantha, I got to clean up my recipe books.
Oh, that's going to be a project.
Yeah.
I think you have a lot of oils and there are always new ones coming on board.
Yeah. And I just got to get them a little more organ. Here we go. So cistus, sitka, aloes, kind of a fancy aloes too. Black frankincense and acacia.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Thank
so
you.
it's pretty fancy blend there.
And black frankincense was the last one, right?
Yeah, acacia.
Acacia.
So cistus, sitka, aloes, like kind of a fancy aloes, and then black frankincense and acacia.
Oh, thank you. I think I only have one of all of those, and it probably. So thank you very much.
You're so welcome.
Go ahead, Barbara.
Hey.
Hey, thank you for this. Really powerful.
Yeah, isn't it?
Felt a lot of, yeah. A lot of energy moving, a lot of yawning, particularly in the right in the back. I don't know if that's a cumulative effect, something about those two quadrants.
Yeah,
Um,
you know, as we go through and we keep refining the aura, you know, you are going to find that the back can have a bit more like there. And as weird as it sounds, the sides will sometimes like I don't know if it's the right word. Like I don't know if it's expelling or they're just like the blockages will come more to the surface, but it's usually when you're piercing through something and you're starting to touch more of the astral realm or the astral body. And so that's the reason why we just don't go front and back is the sides play a significant role. And so yeah, you know, we get so used to just doing the front that you know we forget about the back. And I find that like when you go through and you do a bunch of work on the backside, it makes the back solar plexus really release, like really release. And it usually isn't like uncomfortable. It's not like it's you know, I used to call it etheric diarrhea, you know, where it's just bleh. It's like it just kind of starts to expel and then it dissipates. And then, you know, you do it again, it will expel and dissipate. And so, you know, sometimes like when you're doing the quadrant, you can like how Denise has a little bit more of a thing on the left side. You can linger on that area for a while. Um, you know, as you keep refining the aura, there are going to be these like little sections that they look like almost like little energetic rocks or something that are just like lodged in different places. And you know, it's just an accumulation of whatever. You know, sometimes I think it's things that we have done in this incarnation, and sometimes I think some of it is stuff we just kind of come in with. You know, because it almost looks again to me, it almost looks too dense sometimes to have been assimilated and or assembled in this lifetime. Like it's too big, it's too dense, and it's too hard to like we would really have to work at it to cause those kinds of blockages. And think about like how does karma manifest? You know, it's the light that comes in the blood or the lack of light. But these blockages have a lot to do with like how we flow and how we process in the intuitive mind. And these blockages cause reactions in our body and our emotions and our you know mental uh, mental body. And you know if you think about like you know we have things that maybe bother us and we go through it and we do a you know think of the past or some active situation and you go through and you clear it, but there's just these things sometimes like no matter what you do they're just they're always there. And a lot of that stuff is things that are stuck in the field, you know. Sometimes it can be an old traumatic event, like if the trauma was strong enough. But yeah, but anyway.
so I'm feeling some subtle activity in the throat, like things are just still percolating there.
Oh yeah,
And
that's actually a very good sign. Yeah.
and a little bit at the throat minor, which got
Mhm.
activated yesterday doing some dream processing work.
Nice.
Could you say a little bit about the throat minor and what?
You know, like it will help the throat to function better. You know, it's really tied more to like physiological processes, but it does enhance the function of the throat. You know, same with the back throat and the front throat kind of do some similar things, and then it's a little bit different. But throat minor and the jaws actually are the two places that contribute to the function of the throat. You know how like the arms and legs are associated with the basic chakra? Like it's the same for the throat minor and the jaws. And
Okay, thank you. You started this
the,
segment off. Oh, did you have more to say?
yeah, like you know how we talk about intellect and we talk about intuition, and intuition being associated with the intuitive mind. But like you could say that when light is coming in and is in the process of concretizing, it divides up into these four different aspects, like that work that we've done and continue to do on and off with the four aspects of the blood.
Mm.
That is a very specific process about materializing light into the form. And the thing that I would also say is if you flip that and you look at the point of view of intellect, or in the body, it's the homeostasis mechanism. You know, you could call it different things depending on if it's in nature, if it's in the body and the mind. But you know, there's the aspect of always moving from past experiences, you know, and then repetition, and then maintenance of that repetition, and then finally protection of that repetition. And and I'm not talking about protection from other people or protection, it's protecting like you know, the things that it just does over and over again. And that protective component is the opposite of being conscious, if that makes sense. Like the thing that protects that repetition is also that makes us like consciously asleep.
Mm.
And so as you go through and you break down those aspects, you know, it's not just about getting soul energy into the body. I mean, that helps the body to heal. But even if you look at the idea of the blockages that happen that block things from healing, you know, you could break it down to it's like of one of those four blockages. And you know, even when you have an area that's not responding to treatment, or the body's not able to move forward on something, there's a blockage in one of those aspects. And so like when we go through on the vagal tone, we're going deep on the repetition component, you know, going really super deep on the repetition component. But when you get into that deeper level of protection, again, it's protecting from any sort of shift or change, or it's just trying to maintain that repetition. That's the part that kind of doesn't allow us to have like more conscious thought or more consciousness. You know, it just kind of keeps us in automatic behavior, automatic thinking. And that idea of the throat minor and the jaws, they both kind of help unwind some of those components. The jaws help unwind the protective mechanism, and throat minor is a little bit more of the maintenance component. You know, it just perpetuates a thing. thing that happens. But even the idea of using the void here kind of diminishes all those tendencies of intellect or homeostasis or the aspect that's from the environment.
That was really helpful. Thank you.
Yeah.
One last thing. You
Mhm.
started this session by talking about deepening or connection with vagal tone. And was that this whole Auric programming
Yeah.
process we're
Yeah.
doing, or this particular
All the work
All of
programs do it to a certain extent, but this one, you know, a lot of times we're going, let's hit the nervous system, let's hit the cardiovascular system, let's this one goes a bit deeper than even the body, you know, because like even when you look at the idea of, okay, let's activate the heart and let's have a deep meditation with our awareness on our heart, we're only able to have the level of experience of activating the heart, or the activation of the heart is dependent to a certain extent to the blockages that are in the body. And when we keep unwinding those blockages, there starts to be a greater and greater potential, because eventually you kind of surpass the physical form. You know, you start to really experience the astral realm, the astral body. And so if you look at like even like the cardiovascular system, you know, there's vagal tone for the heart, you know, or the cardiovascular system itself. But then you can start getting into little nuances of the circulation breaks down, and there's a pulmonary circulation and then a systemic circulation. And they each have their own kind of stresses. And usually for most people, the circulation, the pulmonary circulation, where the blood is going into the heart to get oxygenated again, that's usually a big stress. And when that gets diminished, like, yes, your body feels better, but you're also able to start having deeper spiritual experiences and a more regulated psyche, you know, emotions and mind. And look, like for the heart vagal tone usually has to do with conflict, you know. And it's not that like you're a person who walks around getting in conflict, but it's just like the conflict of life, things that have happened, traumatic events, you know, all those things just kind of punch us in the heart over and over and over again. And you know, when we get triggered and when we get a little bit even emotionally upset or something, anxiety, some forms of anxiety, I should say, a lot of that has to do with vagal tone associated with the cardiovascular system. And so, you know, we do it to heal, but if you go past that aspect of just looking at the body as far as vagal tone is concerned, there's still something on the other side of it. And like when we're doing this thing with the void, or you know, what's the other one? The Vajrayana, with the Vajrayana. Yeah.
Vajrayogini.
Yeah. They're big time about going into places that the body only wish it could go. You know, it's a much deeper state. And, you know, if you look at the ideas of like inner peace and an activated heart and a quiet mind, you know, you really kind of start off with calming all these different aspects down in the body. But past that, like you almost like generate this momentum, and like everything quiets down, and then there's like this whole other realm that you can start stepping into because the body's not reactive, you know. So a deeper level of healing can happen psychologically, but it's not like how we think about it with the intellect, where we go, I'm going to release this trauma, I'm going to release. It's almost like just getting up and going, yeah, this room where all the trauma is, I'm out of here. I'm just out of here. Like we need to kind of keep unwinding it for a little while so that we can get to the place where we can get up and walk out. But at some point, it literally is just walk out, shut the door, done. And it's not like a suppression, and it's not like, oh, it's in your field and it will be processed later. When you walk away from it like that, those things starve to death. Like they die. You know, they're not being sustained by your energy body, your conscious awareness, or unconscious, drives. It just fades away.
Thank you for the time you took to answer my questions.
Yeah, my pleasure. I feel like I ramble sometimes, but
And we're still finishing up the Auric and somatic programming, guys. For those of you who just got here to join the regular Q&A, we'll finish the Auric programming, and then I'll let you guys know when to raise your hand for the regular Q&A. We have one more hand raised and then some chat. So go ahead, Ralph.
hey.
Hey, Greg. You mentioned, when you were talking about to Denise, you were talking about protection around the throat. And it almost from your conversation, my mind was going, so what this protection is the protecting of the physiology and of the intellect.
It's not a good kind of protection.
Yeah,
Like
okay,
it's
right. That's what I was getting was, this is
yeah.
not the kind
It's
of
like an
protection I want to have
armoring,
around.
or
Yeah.
it's like sometimes like say you have a liver and you're trying to treat the liver and you're God, I'm throwing everything in, it's just not responding. You
Yeah.
can look at it like, okay, it's repetition, it's maintenance, it's protection. It's usually the protective mechanism. Won't let the liver like break out of that repetitive pattern.
Okay.
So
So if I want to minimize or let's use the word minimize this protective quality
Mhm.
to facilitate releasing those energies which may be held in the liver, the heart, the throat.
Mhm.
What's the what's the magic bullet for going after that?
You have several.
Yeah.
So let's talk single oils first.
Yep.
So the thing that I would do is I would treat the Auric program first, then I would do some sort of vagal tone, that's like associated.
Right.
The next piece, I haven't really talked about it yet, but there's the four aspects of the will, and they're really related to like the physical realm, the emotional realm, the mental realm, the spiritual realm.
I remember those conversations.
Yeah, like I think they might have been touched on in the Angel Encyclopedia booklet, the second version. But anyway, that will come to later. But like if you did the Auric program, you did vagal tone. And then the third thing, you have options like tuberose, ginger lily, super good for that. Like if you look at the idea of tuberose, Kuan Yin in the Buddhist tradition is Avalokiteshvara, or being also known as Chenrezig. And, basically Avalokiteshvara means one who hears and then in the inner world. So it's the great like deity that's in charge of hearing and answering prayers. And, they say like if you invoke Avalokiteshvara or Kuan Yin, basically, you do it through mantra or deep devotion, that, karma permitting, your prayer will eventually be answered or granted. And it's to what degree, but when you look at a lot of the pictures of Avalokiteshvara, there's a big wreath, a big like lei of tuberose around the neck. And if you look at a lot of different pictures of Buddhist teachings, and actually even in other traditions, like the Egyptians use a lot of lotus, same with the Buddhist. There'll be like a particular kind of flower or something. It's usually tied to some process that's associated with that. And if you look at the idea of, breaking through that protection, it's what tuberose does. Like, I mean, it's very nice, it's very activating to the heart, it's very activating to the, but if you do that body awareness with the tuberose, something happens. And
Okay.
you could also do it with ginger lily. I mean, ginger lily is usually a little bit more of like kind of cleaning something up. I find the ginger lily to be a little bit better when it's about a past event, where tuberose is just the body and its mechanisms. So there's those. The other one that was in a kit not too long ago was that body tension. I think it
Mhm.
was in the Radiant Mind class.
Yeah.
That one can be potent. But then the other one that I would say is any of the aspects of the planets. That's part of what they do. Like those aspects of the planets break down, because like even when I say like that kind of protection is almost like the opposite of us being consciously aware, or like our consciousness. It has a kind of consciousness. It's just very instinctive and very primal, but it still has a little bit of a consciousness there. So those
Right.
aspects of the planets, part of what it does is like it just keeps pounding on that protective mechanism, and not in a way where it's like aggressive, but it just keeps pecking at it, and it just keeps breaking up and shifting. And so that's why you'll feel like a shift in your consciousness. Like you do one of those classes, you're like, oh God, I feel different. Part of it was it broke down some of the protection mechanisms in the body, and it allowed for something to shift, allowed for a greater presence to come into the physical form.
Okay. Yeah. Good.
So you have a bunch of choices there.
Okay. Lots of places to play. Avalokitesvara.
Mhm.
Could we use, it sounds like Avalokitesvara is almost on the level of an angelic, like we've been discussing the angels.
You could work the deities like that. They there's always like 24 spiritual elders that their energy body encompasses the planet. And Avalokiteshvara or Kuan Yin is one of those, whatever you want to call it, spiritual elder, great teacher, great presence,
Yeah.
whatever
So,
it is. And so a little bit different than angels, but in the same vein.
okay.
Just like Jesus. Christ is a planetary being. The Buddha is a planetary being.
Yeah. Okay. So I have,
Rama, Rama,
yeah.
Manjushri. Yeah.
So I have Avalokitesvara oil.
Mm-hmm. That's
And so
delicious, isn't
I
it?
could use Avalokitesvara oil and use the angelic process from a couple of weeks
Yeah,
back.
totally. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Okay.
Yeah, even like a simple form of that is just do like body awareness.
Mhm.
And then, in the angelic process where you go from the feet all the way up, like, you go to the main man and the spine and like up,
Yes.
especially with deities, that piece is extra potent.
Okay.
And then also Om Mani Padme Hum. You can inhale the oil and then put it down and just Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Did you do the mystical practice the other night where we did the Tonka?
No.
So one of the things, like if you have an image of Kuan Yin or Avalokiteshvara, meditate on the form for a little bit and then make eye contact with the image and then do your mantra.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Fun stuff. Thanks.
You're so.
And then a little while ago, Greg, you did a post about like doing a practice with the deity, devotional practice with deity. And so I just posted that. in
Yeah.
the
Oh,
chat
great.
as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
So it's up there. And then we'll go ahead and, I have a share for the Auric programming, and go ahead and raise your hand in the chat for the regular Q&A. And we'll get to that going here in just a second. And someone shared soothing and relaxing.
Oh, good.
And I know for me, whenever like you were talking to Barbara, I just couldn't stop yawning. It was like my throat.
Yeah.
And then during the process, it was like my imagination and my creativity were going crazy. I was just like, whoa. And so that was kind of funny because it had to have been the oil.
Feed the mayonnaise to the tuna.
Yeah, it was brilliant.
Good.
So that was really very neat.
Good.
And so that will complete this week's Auric program. Next week, prosperity. So your oil is prosperity for that. So have that handy. Same time, same place. See you there. And then go ahead, Troy.